One hated detours. They cost time, and time was money. His cargo ship, the Wildflower, was already 3 days behind schedule. The ship was old and slow, covered in patches and repairs. But it was his, and it worked. He was heading to station with a hold full of medical supplies when the alarm went off. A distress signal. One stared at the screen and cursed under his breath. The signal came from inside an asteroid field. A dangerous place. "Not my problem," he muttered. He reached to turn off the alert. But something made him stop. Maybe it was the memory of his own crew, lost 5 years ago when no one came to help them. Maybe he was just tired of running. He changed course toward the signal. The asteroid field was thick with floating rocks. One flew carefully, dodging the larger ones. His hands were steady on the controls. He had done this kind of flying 1,000 times before. The distress signal grew stronger. Then he saw it, a ship, or what was left of one. It was sleek and beautiful, made of silver metal that seemed to glow, nothing like human ships. This was alien technology, but the ship was torn apart. Huge holes in the hull, burn marks from weapons fire. This was not an accident. Someone had shot this ship down. One felt his stomach tighten. He should leave. This was trouble, but he was already here. He brought his ship close and put on his space suit. The airlock hissed as he stepped into the void. He floated across to the broken alien ship. Emergency lights flickered inside. The air was thin but breathable. One pulled himself through the twisted metal. Bodies floated in the corridor. Alien guards, all dead. Their armor was burned through. "Hello," one called out. "Anyone alive?" A weak sound came from deeper in the ship. One followed it to what looked like a medical bay. And there, strapped to a bed, was an alien unlike any he had seen before. The alien's skin was pale blue with glowing lines running across it like circuits. His face was sharp and elegant. He wore fine robes soaked in purple blood. The alien's eyes opened slowly. They were completely silver. "Help," the alien whispered in perfect English. "Please." One moved fast. He checked the alien's wounds. 3 deep cuts across the chest, a burn on the side, internal bleeding probably. This was bad. Without a real medical bay, this alien would die in hours. "I'm going to get you to my ship," one said. "Stay with me." The alien's hand grabbed one's arm. His grip was weak but desperate. They cannot know I survived. Trust no one." "Who can't know?" one asked. But the alien's eyes rolled back. He was passing out from blood loss. One made a quick decision. He unstrapped the alien and pulled him up. The alien was lighter than he looked. One carried him back through the wrecked ship, across the void, and into the Wildflower. He laid the alien on his medical table. It was just a simple emergency setup, nothing fancy. One looked at his basic medical kit and then at the dying alien. This was impossible. He was a cargo hauler, not a doctor. But he had learned emergency medicine after his crew died. He had promised himself he would never lose someone again because he did not know what to do. One cut away the alien's robes. The wounds were deep. He could see something like organs beneath the skin, glowing faintly. The alien's blood was thick and purple. He had never treated an alien before. He did not know their biology. "Come on, think," one said to himself. He started with the basics. Stopped the bleeding. He used everything he had: surgical glue, pressure bandages. He even grabbed his welding torch and carefully cauterized the worst cuts. The smell was terrible, but it worked. The alien's breathing was getting weaker. One checked his scanner. The alien's blood was full of toxins. His body was shutting down. He needed a filter like a dialysis machine, but one did not have one. He ran to the engine room. There were filters there for the fuel system. One pulled out tubes and pumps. He brought them back and started connecting them. It was insane, using ship parts to clean alien blood, but maybe, just maybe, it would work. He inserted a needle into the alien's arm and connected it to his makeshift filter. The purple blood started flowing through the tubes. The filter caught the toxins. Slowly, very slowly, the alien's breathing became stronger. One worked for 48 hours straight. He did not eat. He barely drank water. He watched the alien every moment. He adjusted the filter. He changed bandages. He gave injections of basic antibiotics and hoped they would not kill the alien. On the third day, the alien opened his eyes. You saved me," the alien said. His voice was stronger now. "Don't try to talk," one said. He was exhausted. "You need rest." "My name is," the alien said. "I am a prince of the Empire." One stopped. A prince. He had saved an alien prince. This was even worse than he thought. "What happened to your ship?" one asked. His face became dark. "Betrayal. My own uncle wants me dead. He sent assassins. They killed my guards and destroyed my ship. They left me to die." "Why would your uncle want you dead?" "Because I oppose his plans for war," said. "He wants to blame humans for my death. He wants to start a galactic war." One felt cold. A war with humanity. Reached into his robes and pulled out a small device. It looked like a crystal disc glowing with soft light. "This contains proof, communications, plans, evidence of the conspiracy. You must take it. You must expose the truth." He pressed the device into one's hand. It felt warm. "I can't take this," one said. "I'm nobody. I'm just a cargo hauler." "You are the only one I can trust," said. "Please." One looked at the device. He thought about walking away, dumping the prince at the nearest station and disappearing. But he knew it was too late for that. He had already made his choice when he answered that distress call. "All right," one said. "I'll help you." Smiled weakly. "Thank you. What is your name?" One repeated. "You have saved my life. I will not forget this." One looked at his scanner. It was showing something bad. Multiple ships entering the asteroid field. Fast attack ships. They were searching for something. "Searching for?" "We need to go," one said. "Now." He ran to the cockpit and fired up the engines. The wildflower shook as it pulled away from the wreckage. Behind them, the attack ships opened fire on the alien ship, destroying what remained. One pushed the throttle forward. The old ship groaned but moved. They barely made it out of the asteroid field before the attack ship spotted them. Warning lights flashed across one's console. His ship's identification was being scanned. In seconds, they would know who he was. And then everyone in the galaxy would know that one had saved the prince. He was now the most wanted man in the galaxy. One jumped his ship to hyperspace just as the attack ships got within firing range. The wildflower shook violently. Old ships were not meant for emergency jumps like this, but it held together. It always did. "Where are we going?" asked. He was still weak, holding onto the wall for support. "Somewhere safe," one said. "I need to figure out what's on that device you gave me." He had one person he could trust. His sister, Ha. She worked for the Interstellar Commerce Guild as a data analyst. If anyone could read the alien files, it was her. But he could not just call her. Every communication channel would be monitored now. He had to be smart. One changed course 3 times, jumping through different systems to hide their trail. Finally, he landed on a small moon where Ha lived. It was a quiet place. Nobody paid attention to cargo ships here. He helped off the ship. The prince was walking better now, but still moved slowly. They crossed the landing pad to a small apartment building. One knocked on door 17. Hal opened the door. She was younger than one by 5 years. She wore glasses and had her long hair tied back. When she saw her brother, her eyes went wide. "One, what are you doing here?" Then she saw, Is that an?" "Can we come in?" one asked, "please." Ha pulled them inside quickly and locked the door. Her apartment was small but filled with computer screens and data pads. She worked from home most days. "Start talking," Ha said. One told her everything: the distress signal, the wrecked ship, saving the device with evidence. Ha listened without interrupting. When he finished, she sat down hard on her couch. "You saved Prince," she said slowly, "the heir to the Empire." "You know who he is?" one asked. "Everyone knows who he is," Ha said. "He's famous. He's the one who argues for peace with other species. He's the reason humans are even allowed in some parts of the galaxy." She looked at, "Your Highness, it's an honor." Nodded, "Thank you, but please just call me. Titles do not matter right now." Ha took the crystal device from one. She connected it to her main computer. The screen filled with alien symbols. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, running translation programs. This is incredible," she whispered. "These are private communications from the royal court." She opened file after file. Messages between uncle, regent, and leaders of the Dominion. They were a warrior race and aggressive. The messages talked about planned attacks, false flag operations, ways to make it look like humans had assassinated Prince. There were financial records, too. Human corporations had paid billions to support the war. They would profit from selling weapons and supplies. "They planned everything," Ha said. She looked sick. "They were going to kill you and blame humanity, start a war that would kill millions." "Billions," corrected quietly. "The do not take prisoners. If they invaded human space, they would not stop until every colony was destroyed." One felt anger rising in his chest. He had seen war before. He knew what it did to people. "We need to expose this. We need to show everyone the truth." "It's not that simple," Ha said. She was typing fast, checking news feeds. "Look at this." She turned the screen toward them. The galactic news networks were showing one's face. A human face spread across every channel. The headline read, "Human KIDNAPS ALTHARI Prince. Assassination attempt failed." The bounty was 500 million galactic credits, enough money to buy a small planet. "They're saying you kidnapped him," Ha said. "They're saying you attacked his ship and took him hostage." One laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "Of course they are. Every bounty hunter in the galaxy will be looking for you," said. "Has made you the villain." "How did they even know it was me?" one asked. Ha checked her computer. "Your ship's identification was scanned when those attack ships found you. They pulled your biometric data from the records. Name, face, everything." One sat down. He was the most wanted man in the galaxy, all because he tried to help someone. "We can't just send this evidence to the news," Ha said. "Controls most of the official channels. They would bury it, say it's fake." "Then what do we do?" one asked. Stood up straight despite his pain. "We must reach the Galactic Council, on Nexus Prime. It is a neutral station. If I appear there in person alive, I can present the evidence directly. They will have to listen." "Nexus Prime is 15 jump points away," one said, "through some of the busiest shipping lanes in the galaxy, with every mercenary and soldier looking for us." "I know it's dangerous," said, "but it's the only way." Ha was already typing. "I can help from here. I'll upload parts of the evidence to underground networks, plant seeds of doubt, make people question the official story. It won't convince everyone, but it might slow them down." "You'll be in danger too," one said to his sister. "I know," Ha said, "but this is bigger than us. This is about preventing a war." One's communication device buzzed, a message from an unknown sender. He opened it carefully. The message said, "I know you're innocent. I can help. Meet me at Sangwoo's station. You remember where." One felt relief. Sangwoo, an old friend, a smuggler who ran a black market refueling station on the edge of civilized space. One had saved his life once years ago. Sangwoo never forgot a debt. "We need to go," one said. "Now they'll track us here eventually." Ha hugged her brother. "Be careful. Send me coded messages when you can. I'll do what I can from here." "Thank you," said to Ha. "You are brave." "So is my brother," Ha said, "even if he's too stubborn to admit it." One and left quickly. They moved through the back streets to avoid cameras. When they reached the landing pad, one's heart sank. There were 3 ships circling overhead, not military, mercenary hunters. "They found us already," one said. "Can we outrun them?" asked. "The Wildflower is tough but slow," one said. "But I know her limits. Those fancy ships, they rely on computers and automatic systems. We're going to use that against them." They ran to the ship. One fired up the engines before they even reached the cockpit. The Wildflower lifted off just as the mercenary ships noticed them. Laser fire lit up the night sky. One flew low, using the buildings for cover. He flew in ways no computer would recommend. Dangerous turns, sudden drops, the kind of flying that required human instinct. One mercenary ship tried to follow and clipped a tower. It spun out of control and crashed. The other 2 stayed back, following at a distance. "They're being careful," one said. "They want us alive. That bounty is only good if they can deliver us breathing." He pushed the ship toward the upper atmosphere. The mercenaries followed, but one had a trick. He shut down all non-essential systems, made his ship look dead. The mercenaries moved in close to grab them with tractor beams. That's when one restarted the engines at full power. The sudden burst threw off their sensors. He dove back toward the moon's surface, then pulled up hard and jumped to hyperspace. The mercenaries were left behind, confused and angry. Was breathing hard. That was incredible. "That was lucky," one said. "Next time we might not be so lucky." He set course for Sangwoo's station. It would take 6 hours to get there. 6 hours where they could not relax, could not let their guard down. Because now the entire galaxy was hunting them. Ha sat at her computer, watching them escape on the tracking feed. She started uploading the evidence files to underground channels, anonymous forums, hidden networks, places where the truth could spread even if the official news would not report it. She knew they were watching her now too, but she was not afraid. Her brother had saved an alien prince. Now she would help save them both. Sangwoo's station appeared on the scanner like a small dot in the darkness. It was built inside a dead asteroid, hidden from most shipping routes. Only smugglers and people running from something new about it. One brought the Wildflower in slowly. The station's docking bay was old and barely lit, but it was safe. Sangwoo did not ask questions, and he did not report visitors to anyone. Sangwoo was waiting at the dock. He was a big man with scars on his arms and a rough face. He had been a soldier once, before he decided the military life was not for him. Now he ran this station and made money helping people who needed to disappear. Sangwoo said, gripping his friend's arm. "I heard about the bounty, 500 million credits. You must have made someone very angry." "I saved his life," one said, gesturing too. "That was my mistake." Sangwoo looked at the prince and whistled low. "Prince himself. The stories are true then. They really do want you both dead." "Can you help us?" one asked. "I owe you a life debt," Sangwoo said. "Of course I'll help. Come inside, we need to talk." They moved through the station's narrow corridors. The place was busy with traders and criminals of all species. Nobody looked at them twice. In a place like this, everyone minded their own business. Sangwoo took them to his private room. It was cluttered with weapons, ship parts, and data pads. He poured them drinks and sat down. "You need to reach Nexus Prime," Sangwoo said. "I figured that out already. But the problem is every major route is being watched. Military checkpoints, bounty hunter nets. They're looking for your ship specifically." "What if we change ships?" asked. "Your friend's face is everywhere," Sangwoo said, pointing at one. "And yours too, Your Highness. They'll scan your biometrics at any checkpoint. Changing ships won't help." One thought hard. What about the old mining routes, through the dead zones? Sangwoo smiled. Dangerous, full of radiation and debris. But yes, those routes aren't monitored. Most species won't fly them because their ships can't handle the interference. But the wildflower can, one said. Human ships are built with manual overrides. We don't rely on automatic navigation. That's insane, said. The dead zones have killed entire fleets. Fancy fleets with fancy computers, one said. My ship is simple. We can do it. Sangwoo nodded. I can give you supplies, weapons, and I know someone else who can help. She's here at the station right now. Who? One asked. The door opened. A woman walked in. She was like with the same glowing marks on her skin, but she wore combat armor, scratched and dented from many fights. She carried a plasma rifle on her back. Duh, said, standing up quickly. You're alive. Duh said, her voice was cold. I heard you survived. I came to see if it was true. Duh had been a royal guard, explained to one. She had served the Empire for 20 years, but when the order came to hunt Prince, she refused. She knew something was wrong, so they declared her a traitor. They want me dead too now, Duh said, just for asking questions. Will you help us? Asked. Duh looked at him for a long moment. Then she looked at one. You're the human who saved him, the one they're calling a kidnapper and assassin. That's me, one said. Good, Duh said. I like people who don't do what they're told. Yes, I'll help you. Sangwoo pulled out a data pad. I mapped a route through the dead zones. It's rough. You'll have to stop twice for supplies. I have contacts at both places. They're humans, former military. They'll help you. Why would they help? Asked. Because human soldiers understand something, Sangwoo said. They understand that sometimes the right thing to do is disobey orders. They'll help because they know this is bigger than money or politics. One studied the map. The route was dangerous, but it would get them to Nexus Prime while avoiding the main checkpoints. They had a chance. We'll need to upgrade your ship, Sangwoo said. The wildflower is tough, but she needs better shields if you're going through the dead zones. I don't have money for upgrades, one said. Sangwoo waved his hand. You saved my life. This is me paying that debt. Besides, I know someone who owes me a favor. He sent a message. 20 minutes later, another person arrived. One's stomach dropped when he saw who it was. Bora, his ex-girlfriend. She was wearing mechanic coveralls covered in grease. Her hair was short now, and she had new tattoos on her arms. She looked at one with an expression he could not read. Really? Bora said to Sangwoo. Him, you're calling in your favor for him. Hello, Bora, one said quietly. Don't hello me, Bora said. You disappeared 3 years ago, didn't even say goodbye. I had my reasons, one said. I'm sure you did, Bora said coldly, then she sighed. But I owe Sangwoo, so I'll help. Show me your ship. They went to the docking bay. Bora walked around the wildflower, checking every part. She knocked on panels and looked at the engines. This ship should have fallen apart years ago, Bora said. How is she still flying? I take care of her, one said. You duct tape her back together, Bora corrected, but there was a small smile on her face. All right, I can work with this. I have some military-grade shield generators, stolen from a supply depot. I can install them in 6 hours. Thank you, one said. Bora looked at him. Don't thank me yet, we need to talk, alone. They went to a quiet corner of the bay. Bora crossed her arms. Why did you leave? One did not want to have this conversation, but he owed her honesty. After my crew died, I couldn't stay still. I couldn't be around people. I thought if I kept moving, kept working, I wouldn't have to think about it. You pushed everyone away, Bora said, including me. I know, one said. I'm sorry. Are you? Bora asked. Or are you just sorry now because you need help? One met her eyes. I was wrong to leave like that. You deserved better. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to help me stop a war. Bora looked at him for a long time, then she nodded. Fine, but after this we're done. No more running away. Deal, one said. Bora got to work. She was brilliant with machines. She always had been. She pulled apart sections of the wildflower and installed the new shield generators. She rerouted power systems and upgraded the hull plating with spare parts from Sangwoo's storage. While Bora worked and De talked privately, they had not seen each other in months. They had been on a mission when the assassination happened. "I should have been there," De said. "I should have protected you." "You would have died with the others," said. "I'm glad you weren't there." "What's the human like?" De asked. "Can we trust him?" "He saved my life when he had no reason to," said. "He risked everything. Yes, we can trust him." De nodded. "Then I'll protect him too. Anyone who saves you is worthy of my loyalty." 6 hours later, Bora finished the upgrades. The wildflower looked almost the same on the outside, but inside she was stronger, better protected. "These shields will handle radiation and most weapons fire," Bora said. "But don't get cocky. They're not invincible." "Thank you," one said. "Really." Bora looked at him. Her expression softened just a little. "Stay alive out there. And one, after you expose this conspiracy and save the galaxy, figure out what you really want. Stop running." "I will," one promised. They loaded supplies onto the ship: food, water, fuel cells, and weapons. Sangwoo gave them military-grade rifles and ammunition. De checked every weapon personally. "We're ready," one said. Sangwoo gripped his friend's arm one last time. "If you make it to Nexus Prime, send word. I'll spread the truth from here. Help your sister. We humans need to stick together." "We will," one said. They boarded the wildflower. De took the co-pilot seat, sat behind them. The engines fired up. Bora watched from the docking bay as they pulled away. One set course for the first dead zone. It was 3 days of flying through dangerous space, but they had supplies, they had weapons, and they had each other. As they jumped to hyperspace, De spoke. "I've fought many battles, but this feels different. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for billions of people who don't even know they're in danger." "That's what makes it worth it," one said. Looked out at the stars. "My uncle thinks humans are primitive, weak, but he's wrong. You are stubborn and brave, and you refuse to give up. That's not weakness, that's strength." One smiled. "You're learning, now get some rest. Things are going to get rough." The ship flew on through the darkness, carrying its small crew toward an impossible goal. Behind them, the galaxy was searching. Ahead of them, danger waited. But they kept going anyway. The dead zone was worse than one remembered. Space itself looked wrong here. Clouds of radiation glowed with sick green light. Debris from old ship battles floated everywhere. His instruments kept flickering, struggling against the interference. "This place is cursed," De said, watching the scanner. "My people have stories about ships that enter the dead zones and never come out." "Those ships relied on automatic navigation," one said, hands steady on the manual controls. "We're flying old style, human style." He guided the wildflower through the debris field carefully. A piece of metal the size of a building floated past them. One adjusted course without looking at his instruments. He felt the ship's movements through his hands. "How do you know where to go?" asked. "Your sensors are barely working." "I'm listening to her," one said, patting the console. "The wildflower tells me what she needs." They were 2 days into the dead zone when they found them. 5 ships dropped out of hyperspace behind them. They were organic-looking, like insects made of metal. The Dominion built their ships from living tissue and technology merged together. They were fast and deadly. "How did they find us here?" De demanded. "They must have tracked our jump signature," one said. He pushed the engines to full power. "Hold on." The ships opened fire. Plasma bolts lit up the dead zone. One flew between pieces of debris, using them for cover. Bora's shields held, but they would not last forever. "I can't target them," De said, frustrated. "The interference is blocking our weapon systems." "Then we do it manually," one said. He flipped a switch. The weapon's targeting changed from automatic to manual control. "You're a trained warrior. Can you shoot without computer help? Des smiled. It was not a nice smile. Watch me. She took control of the guns. The ships moved in a coordinated pattern like a hive mind, but they did not try to predict them. She fired where they were going to be, pure instinct, pure skill. Her first shots missed, but the third one hit a ship square in the engine. It exploded in a burst of green fire. One down, Des said. But there were still 4 more, and they were getting closer. One had an idea, a crazy idea. Do you know what horror movies are? He asked. What? Des looked confused. Human entertainment, one said. Scary stories with disturbing sounds and images. They have a hive mind, right? They share information instantly. Yes, so asked. So we're going to give them something to share, one said. He pulled up his personal files. Old Earth movies he had downloaded years ago. Horror films with screaming and terrible music. He broadcast them on all frequencies, directly at the ships. The effect was immediate. The ships started flying erratically, breaking formation. The disturbing human sounds were flooding their hive mind. They were not built to handle this kind of sensory attack. It's working, Des said. She fired again, hitting another ship. One added strobe lights from the ship's external lamps, flashing patterns that made no sense. They relied on visual coordination. This broke their ability to work together. 2 more ships collided with each other, confused and overwhelmed. The last one tried to run. Des shot it down before it could escape. They were alone again in the dead zone. That was the strangest battle I've ever seen, said. You defeated them with entertainment. Human culture is weaponized chaos, one said. Most species find us disturbing. We use that. They kept flying. 3 days later, they reached the first supply stop. It was a hidden outpost built into a moon. Sang-woo's contact, a human woman named, met them with food and fuel. You're the ones everyone's looking for, said. The whole galaxy is talking about you. Half think you're villains, the other half think you're heroes. What do you think? One asked. I think you're doing what's right, said. That's more important than what people think. She gave them fresh supplies and information. Haas leaked evidence was spreading through underground channels. People were starting to question the official story, but Regent was doubling down, calling it all fake news. You need to get to Nexus Prime soon, said. Before convinces the Council to declare war. He's saying humans are hiding the prince, that we kidnapped him for ransom. How much time do we have? Asked. 3 days, maybe 4. The Council meets an emergency session at the end of the week. They left immediately. The next jump would take them through mercenary territory. Sure enough, 12 hours later, a fleet of bounty hunters intercepted them. 20 ships, Des counted. We can't fight that many. We don't have to fight, one said. Sang-woo, if you can hear this, now would be good. A response came through the communication channel, already on it. Suddenly, dozens of false signals appeared on the scanners. Cargo ships broadcasting one's identification codes. They came from every direction. Sang-woo and his smuggler network had created decoys, fake wildflowers spreading across the sector. The bounty hunters scattered, chasing the false signals. Simple technology beating expensive scanners, Des said. Your species is very strange. You're learning, one said. But not all the hunters fell for it. 5 ships stayed on their trail, smart ones, patient ones. They knew which signal was real. They're not giving up, said. One checked his maps. There was an old human research station nearby, abandoned for 10 years. I know that place. I delivered supplies there once. It's a maze inside. If we can get there, we have a chance. They headed for the station. It was floating in orbit around a gas giant, dark and silent. One docked the wildflower and they ran inside. The station was exactly as he remembered. Narrow corridors, multiple levels, dozens of rooms, and most importantly, it was built by humans. That meant manual overrides everywhere. Split up, De said. We can cover more ground. No, one said. Stay together, I know this place, you don't. The bounty hunters entered the station. They were a species that used advanced sensors and combat suits. 5 heavily armed soldiers moving through the corridors. But one knew something they did not. The station had been built with redundant safety systems. Every door, every panel, every system could be controlled manually from multiple points. He led them through the maze, staying ahead of the hunters. Then he started his plan. First, he locked doors behind them. They cut through with plasma torches, but it slowed them down. Second, he shut down lights in sections, made them move in darkness. Their night vision worked, but it made them nervous. Third, he started making noise, banging on pipes, creating echoes. The station became full of sounds that made no sense. The hunters could not tell where they were coming from. You're making them paranoid, said. That's the idea, one replied. Fear is more effective than weapons sometimes. De smiled. You fight like a hunter, not like a soldier, I approve. They led the deeper into the station, into the reactor room. It was huge and empty, full of old machinery. This is it, one said. When I say run, you run, understand. What are you going to do? Asked. Something stupid, one said. The 5 entered the reactor room. They spread out, weapons ready. One stepped out from behind cover. Looking for me, he called out. They turned. Their leader spoke through his helmet. Surrender the prince, we don't have to hurt you. Can't do that, one said, but I can give you a choice. Leave now or stay here forever. You're surrounded, the leader said. You have no leverage. One held up a device, a detonator he had built from spare parts. This station still has fuel cells, enough to make a very big explosion. I can trigger them all right now. You're bluffing, the leader said. You would die too. Maybe, one said, but I've been tired of running anyway, so what's it going to be? They looked at each other. They were professionals. They knew when someone was serious, and humans had a reputation for doing insane things. We're leaving, the leader said. The bounty isn't worth dying for. They backed out slowly. Once they were gone, came out from hiding. Did you really wire the reactor to explode? He asked. One showed him the detonator. It was just a radio remote from an old toy. Nope, but they didn't know that. De laughed. You lied, you bluffed, you won without fighting. Humans are terrifying. They got back to the wildflower and left the station. Behind them, one triggered the real explosives he had planted, not in the reactor, just in the docking bay. The station would not explode, but the ships would. Insurance, one said, in case they changed their minds. They were only one jump away from Nexus Prime now, one more day of flying, but the hardest part was still ahead. We'll have his forces surrounding the station, said. Getting to the council chambers will be nearly impossible. Then we'll do the impossible, one said. We've come this far, we're not stopping now. De checked her weapons. I'm ready to fight. So am I, said. He had learned to use a gun during their journey. He was not great at it, but he could shoot straight enough. One looked at his companions, a prince, a warrior, and himself, 3 people against an empire. Let's finish this, he said. The ship jumped to hyperspace one last time. Nexus Prime waited ahead, their final destination, where they would either expose the truth or die trying. Nexus Prime appeared on the scanner like a city in space, massive and beautiful, spinning slowly in orbit. The station was home to the Galactic Council, where all the major species met to make decisions. It was supposed to be neutral ground, but today it was surrounded by warships. Fleet, De said, counting at least 50 military vessels. Battleships, war cruisers, and human corporate security forces. They're all working together, said bitterly. The conspiracy runs deeper than I thought. One studied the blockade. There was no way through, not directly. We need a distraction, something big. His communication device buzzed. A message from Sangwoo, check your scanner and you're welcome. Suddenly dozens of ships appeared on the edge of the system. Cargo haulers, mining vessels, personal transports, all human ships, and they were all broadcasting the same message. We stand with one. We stand with the truth. What is this? Asked. One felt something tight in his chest. It's Sangwoo. He called in every favor he had. He asked other humans to help. The human fleet was not military. They were civilians, traders, miners, families, but there were hundreds of them, and they were flying toward Nexus Prime, broadcasting Haas evidence on every channel. The blockade did not know what to do. They could not attack civilians. The entire galaxy was watching. Now's our chance, one said, while they're distracted. He flew the wildflower in low and fast, hiding in the shadow of a massive transport. They slipped past the blockade while all eyes were on the human fleet. They docked at Nexus Prime in a remote bay, but as soon as they stepped off the ship, alarms went off. They know we're here, Da said, raising her weapon. Regent's elite guards appeared from every direction, 20 soldiers in advanced combat armor, the best warriors in the military. Prince, the commander said, you will come with us. The regent wishes to speak with you. I'm sure he does, said, but I have business with the council first. The council has been told you are being held hostage, the commander said, that this human has forced you to lie. Come willingly or we will take you by force. Da stepped forward. You'll have to go through me first. The commander looked at her with disgust. Traitor, you abandoned your oath. No, Da said, you abandoned yours, you serve a murderer. The guards raised their weapons, but before they could fire, something unexpected happened. 6 of the guards lowered their weapons and stood beside Da. We believe her, one of them said. We've seen the evidence spreading through the networks. We know what is done. The commander looked shocked. Traitors, all of you. We are loyal to the truth, the guard said, not to corruption. A firefight broke out. One grabbed and ran toward the council chambers. Then her allies held off forces, buying them time. The council chambers were enormous. Representatives from dozens of species sat in circular rows. At the center stood Regent himself, tall and imposing. He was in the middle of a speech about human aggression. And that is why, said, we must act now, before the humans destroy everything we have built. That's a lie, one shouted, entering the chamber. Every eye turned to him. Security started moving, but one kept walking, stepped out from behind him. The chamber erupted in chaos. Species were shouting, some in shock, some in anger. The human ambassador stood up, relief on his face. Prince, the council speaker said, you are alive. I am alive, said, thanks to this human. One saved my life when my own uncle tried to have me killed. His face twisted with rage. Lies, this human has poisoned your mind. Guards, arrest them both. Wait, the speaker said. Prince has the right to speak before this council. Stepped forward. He held up the crystal device containing all the evidence. I have proof of everything. Communications between my uncle and the Dominion. Plans to assassinate me. Financial records showing who profits from war. This conspiracy was designed to destroy billions of lives. Moved toward his nephew. You naive fool, you think truth matters, power matters, control matters. Then you've already lost, said, because the truth is already spreading. My friend Ha has been broadcasting the evidence across the galaxy. Millions have seen it. You cannot stop it now. His hand moved to his belt. He pulled out a small device. One recognized it immediately. A dead man's switch. You want truth, said. Here is truth. I planted a singularity bomb beneath this station. If I am arrested, if I am defeated, this bomb will activate. It will destroy Nexus Prime and everyone on it. Billions will die in the resulting chaos. The war I wanted will happen anyway. The council chamber fell silent. You're insane, the speaker said. I am practical, said. Now you will do as I say. You will declare war on humanity. You will execute the prince and this human, or everyone dies." One looked at the device in his hand. He thought about everything he had learned in his years as a cargo hauler, about old technology, about how fancy systems had fancy weaknesses. "Duh," one said into his communicator. "I need you to cause a power surge in Sector 7, right now." "What are you planning?" Duh asked. "Just do it," one said. Was still talking, making demands, but one was not listening. He was watching the lights, watching the power flow. De triggered the surge. The lights flickered. For just a moment, everything went dark. In that moment, one moved. He had spent years loading cargo in dark holds. He knew how to move without seeing. He crossed the distance to and grabbed the dead man's switch. The lights came back on. One had the device. Lunged at him, but was faster. The prince hit his uncle hard, knocking him down. Guards surrounded them both. "I have the detonator," one said, "but I don't know how to disarm it. Someone help me." A scientist came forward. She was part of the council delegation. "I can disarm it," she said. "Give it to me." "How do I know you're not part of the conspiracy?" one asked. "You don't," the scientist said. "But if I wanted you dead, I would let the bomb go off. I am here because I believe in peace." One handed her the device. She worked on it quickly, using tools from her kit. Everyone watched in silence. After 3 long minutes, she sighed. "It's disarmed. The bomb is deactivated." The chamber erupted again, this time in relief. Was screaming from the floor. "You've ruined everything, everything I built." "You built it on lies," said, "and lies always fall apart." The council guards arrested. The evidence was presented officially to the council. Every communication, every financial record, every piece of proof. The council speaker stood. "The evidence is clear. Regent conspired to start an intergalactic war. He will face trial for his crimes. The charges against the human one are dropped. The bounty is canceled." The human ambassador was crying with relief. "Thank you, thank you." One just wanted to sit down. He was exhausted, but it was not over yet. Stepped forward. "There is one more thing. I propose that humanity be given full membership in the Galactic Council. They have proven themselves worthy. This human risked everything to save not just me, but all of us." There was debate. Some species still did not trust humans, but others remembered the civilian fleet that came to help. They remembered how humans had exposed the conspiracy. The vote was taken, it passed. Humanity was now an official member of the Galactic Council. 3 days later, one stood in the Wildflower's cargo bay. He was preparing to leave. Bora had come to say goodbye. "So you're really leaving," she said. "One more supply run," one said. "That's what I told you." "Are you going to keep running forever?" Bora asked. One thought about it. "No, I think I'm done running, but I'm not done flying. The galaxy is big. There's a lot to see." Bora smiled. "Maybe I'll come with you sometime. Someone needs to keep this ship from falling apart." "I'd like that," one said. Came to say goodbye too. He was no longer just a prince. He was about to become emperor. His father had stepped down, ashamed of what his brother had done. "I owe you my life," said. "I owe you more than I can ever repay." "You don't owe me anything," one said. "You would have done the same for me." "Yes," said, "I would, and I hope I get the chance someday." Da was staying with, she would become his head of security. But before she left, she gave one something, a blade from her armor. "In my culture, this means eternal friendship," Da said. "You are always welcome in space." Sangwoo sent a message. "You did good, friend. The drinks are on me next time you visit." Ha called him from Earth. She was being celebrated as a hero, the one who exposed the conspiracy. "Are you coming home?" she asked. "Eventually," one said, "but not yet. I have more deliveries to make." "You're impossible," Ha said, but she was smiling. One fired up the Wildflower's engines. The old ship hummed to life. It was still held together with patches and hope, but it had carried them through everything. He set course for the outer colonies. There were people out there who needed supplies, people who were forgotten by the big governments and corporations. One would help them. That was what he did. As he flew away from Nexus Prime, he thought about everything that had happened. He had saved an alien prince. He had exposed a conspiracy. He had helped prevent a war. But more than that, he had proven something. That humans did not need fancy technology or massive armies. They needed courage. They needed stubbornness. They needed the willingness to do the right thing even when it seemed impossible. The galaxy had learned that lesson. Humans were not primitive. They were not weak. They were survivors. They were fighters. They were the species that refused to give up. And one was proud to be one of them. He looked at the stars ahead. So many places to go, so many people to help. He smiled and pushed the throttle forward. The wildflower jumped to hyperspace, carrying its cargo of hope into the endless galaxy.